All right, let's talk about building a blueprint for your next breakthrough. We're going to dive into a simple but really challenging idea today. What if the biggest thing standing in your way isn't some huge mountain, but just your willingness to take that very next small step? Let's get into it. So, let me just ask you this. What if success, I mean real life-changing success, is actually way simpler than you've been taught to believe? Now, I'm not saying it's easier, just simpler. What if it's less about some grand, complicated master plan and more about getting one single fundamental mindset right? And this is where the whole script on success gets flipped upside down. It's not about some spectacular leap or one heroic moment. It's right here in this quote. It's about hanging on when others would let go. It's about sheer will. The grit to just keep going when every fiber of your being is screaming at you to stop. That, right there, that's the real starting line. Now, to really let that sink in, we have to completely redefine what the climb even is. Because the journey, it's not a single impossible jump. No, it's something else entirely. This quote from Thomas Edison just hits so hard, doesn't it? I mean, just think about that for a second. How many people out there have turned back right when they were on the edge of the finish line, and they never even knew it? It's like the journey is designed to test you the hardest right before the breakthrough. So here's the crucial shift in perspective we all need to make. We get so freaked out by the size of the mountain that we forget it's really just a massive collection of small, manageable rocks. Progress isn't about one giant heroic leap. It's the sum of all the small, consistent steps you take. Each one, no matter how tiny it feels, is what actually gets you to the top. Okay, so if the journey is all about taking these small steps, what does it take to keep walking? Well, you gotta understand the rules of the road. And probably the most important rule is getting the massive difference between two words we mix up all the time: simple and easy. First, let's nail down what simple means. It just means straightforward, uncomplicated. It's about how complex the task is. Waking up early is simple. Reading a book is simple. The actual how-to of becoming the person you want to be is, when you break it down, pretty simple. But then we have easy. And this means achieved without great effort. See, this has absolutely nothing to do with how complicated something is. This is all about your will, your determination, your grit to push through being uncomfortable. And this is where it all clicks. Simple is about the how, the complexity. Easy is about the effort, your will. The instructions for walking up a hill are simple, right? But actually hiking up a steep mountain is definitely not easy. The how didn't change, but the effort required, it changed everything. Your growth depends on your will, not just on knowing the steps. This brings us to this incredible metaphor for this entire process, the staircase of growth. See, it's not a straight line up. It's a cycle of reaching new levels, one single step at a time. So here's how this cycle works. First, you realize that what was once an act of courage yesterday is just your normal today. That ceiling you were struggling to even touch, it's now the floor you're standing on. So you push yourself out into the discomfort of the unknown, right into the chaos. And it's in that storm that you're forced to grow. And once you overcome that challenge, the chaos you just wrestled with becomes your new floor. Your entire starting point just got elevated. But here's the catch. Climbing this staircase requires a fundamental shift. It means you have to stop being a passenger in your own life and start grabbing the wheel. So let me ask you, straight up, are you behind the wheel? Or have you just been a spectator, kind of looking out the window, wondering what it would be like to actually pick the destination? Because you can only go so long just floating along before the current takes you somewhere you really don't want to be. It really just comes down to this. The spectator floats along, they blame other people, they accept whatever default path life throws at them. But the driver? The driver takes control. They know that if they don't like where they're headed, they can reroute. They choose their destination because they get that it is 100% their responsibility. Now, being the driver doesn't just mean slamming on the gas and pushing forward no matter what. It also means having the wisdom to know when to get off the highway entirely. It's about recognizing the crossroads and having the guts to walk away. This right here, this might be one of the most freeing ideas in this whole thing. We so often feel chained to our past decisions, Like we have to keep walking down a path just because we've been on it for a while. This quote is your permission slip to let go of projects, of paths,
even of identities that just don't fit the person you're becoming.
This is a classic mental trap, often called the sunk cost fallacy. The time, the energy, the money you've already spent, well, it's gone. It's a sunk cost. It should not be dictating your future. You are not indebted to who you were yesterday. The only question that really matters is the one right here on the screen. What matters now? So, as we bring all of this together, let's talk about the fuel. What is it that's going to keep you climbing that staircase? Well, it's not about giant leaps. It's about something much, much smaller, but way more powerful: relentless, continuous improvement. It all boils down to this one number, 1%. The author James Clear talks a lot about this idea. If you can just get 1% better each day, by the end of the year, because of the compounding effect, you'll be almost 38 times better. It's an absolutely incredible transformation, and it's built on the smallest commitment you can possibly imagine. And so I'll leave you with this final question, tying everything we've talked about together. It is not about leaping up the whole staircase at once. It's about the small, simple, but definitely not easy step you can take right now. So looking at your own life, your own goals, what is the one tiny 1% step you